Okay, so picture this for a second.
Right.
You are sitting in one of those beige fabric-walled boxes.
A cubicle.
Exactly, a cubicle. And the air conditioning is humming at that specific, just soul-crushing frequency that feels like it's designed to put you to sleep.
Yeah, the classic corporate drone aesthetic.
Right. And you're a senior IT data modeler. So your boss is hovering around asking about spreadsheets, and your coworkers are, I don't know, debating the merits of a pivot table.
It sounds like the default setting for about 40% of the workforce, to be honest, just staring at a screen, waiting for 5 o'clock.
It is the absolute definition of the mundane 9-to-5 grind. But while you are sitting there nodding at your manager, your brain is somewhere else entirely.
Not just thinking about dinner.
Not at all. You are silently orchestrating this complex, high-stakes, open relationship network.
Wow.
Yeah. It involves a live-in partner who works as an escort, a quote-unquote side dick you literally hired to keep her occupied, and a cross-country trip to hook up with identical twins.
That is a significant context switch from data modeling.
It's the ultimate double life.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking in today's deep dive. We are looking into a book called Keep It in the Family by Euftis Emery.
And it's a wild ride.
It really is. It isn't just a memoir, and it's not quite a novel either. It's this raw, completely unapologetic blend of a diary, urban erotica, and surprisingly, biting corporate satire.
It is a really unique document because usually when we look at erotica or memoirs about the lifestyle.
Meaning swinging or polyamory.
Right, exactly. When we look at those, they're almost always framed as a romance or this profound journey of self-discovery. Emery doesn't do that at all.
No, he really doesn't.
He frames it almost like a systems architecture project, like he's looking at the pure logistics of desire.
So our mission today for you listening is to figure out how this guy, Euftis, actually operates. We need to look at his underlying philosophy, the actual day-to-day mechanics of his relationship with his partner, Isla, and how he manages to merge the world of high-level IT consulting with the world of, as he puts it, pimping and hoeing.
And we definitely need to talk about the side dick application process.
Oh, we are absolutely getting to the application. That is the highlight for me, hands down.
I can't wait.
But let's start with the philosophy, because the book opens with a preface that basically acts like a manifesto. He warns the reader right out of the gate saying, this book was never meant to behave.
That line just sets the tone perfectly. Emery is establishing a contract with the reader right there.
Yeah.
He's saying that in polite society, we lie about what we want. We pretend to be highly moral. We pretend to be monogamous. We pretend to actually like our bosses.
All the standard social scripts.
Right. And he argues that desire is the only place where people are actually honest. He literally writes, there are no heroes here. There are only people making choices.
Which is really interesting because usually, even in super gritty stories, we as readers want a hero. We want some kind of redemption arc or someone to root for.
Exactly. And he explicitly rejects that. He says, if you want to be comfortable, go read something else. He is dissecting the nasty parts of the human psyche without apologizing for them whatsoever.
He just lays it all out.
He does. And he kicks this whole thing off by analyzing his own subconscious. The very beginning of the book is this highly detailed dream analysis.
This part actually surprised me. I fully expected him to jump straight into the action, but he pauses to break down this bizarre dream about a cat daddy.
Which implies an older player type of guy.
Right? A cat daddy, a limousine, and of all things, a helmet, and women demanding his underwear.
It's a fascinating look into his headspace. So in the dream, he's in this limo, which he interprets as a symbol of his self-worth and his prestige, but he puts on a helmet inside the limo.
Which makes no sense initially.
Right, but when he wakes up, he treats this dream like a literal data point. He realizes the helmet symbolizes protection. He's protecting himself from a very specific real-world threat in his waking life.
The coworker who outed him, right?
Precisely. There's a guy at his office, someone he clearly just despises, who somehow found his explicit erotica writing online and spread it around the workplace.
Now, for most people in a corporate environment, that is the ultimate nightmare scenario.
Absolutely.
You'd be mortified, you would scrub the internet, you'd maybe quit your job, maybe move to a farm in Idaho and change your name.
Run away and hide. But Emery does the exact opposite.
He doubles down.
He completely doubles down. He interprets that dream as a sign that he's been repressing his anger. He decides that hiding his true nature, the hot, nasty shit he writes, is a betrayal of himself.
So what does he do?
He decides to push his web presence farther and harder. It's this massive rebellion against the corporate judgment that tries to sanitize everyone.
So that rebellion obviously bleeds into his home life. And we have to talk about the central dynamic here, which is Euftis and his partner, Ela.
Yes.
Because this is not a standard boyfriend-girlfriend setup by any stretch of the imagination.
Far from it. So Ela is his live-in partner, but she is also an active escort.
Right.
She refers to herself as a hoe, and Euftis leans into a role he describes as pimpish. But we have to be really careful with those terms here because they aren't using them in the traditional exploitative street sense.
No, it's much more of a domestic economic model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because she likes it. She is not being forced into this. She loves the money. She loves the game, the whole lifestyle.
And Euftis acts more as a manager. He doesn't take all her earnings, but he expects a cut. And more importantly, he demands total transparency.
Yes, the voyeurism aspect.
Yeah, they really bond over voyeurism. He'll watch her on webcam with clients, or he'll just listen in quietly on her phone calls. It's their unique version of intimacy. It's this shared transgression.
But the thing that really threw me was what we could call the domestic hoe paradox. Oh my goodness, yes.
Because you picture this wild, chaotic, nonstop party lifestyle, but then he describes her cooking these massive pot roasts and vacuuming the house.
That's the disconnect that Emery just loves to highlight. Ela will literally be on the phone negotiating a price for a GFE.
A girlfriend experience.
Right, which is industry jargon for a date that feels romantic rather than purely transactional. She's negotiating that, and then 5 minutes later, she's cooking collard greens and cleaning the house completely naked.
She is completely obsessed with feeding him. It creates this very strange, very specific kind of domestic stability for them.
However, there is a major resource constraint in this highly tuned system, and that resource is energy.
Yes, this is the core conflict that drives the first act of the book. Ela has an insatiable sexual appetite. She wants marathon sessions every single day.
Euftis?
The man is tired.
He works a demanding IT job dealing with what he sees as total incompetence all day long, and when he comes home, he wants to write his books. He views his writing as his true hustle, his exit strategy from the corporate world.
I think a lot of people listening can actually relate to that on some level.
Yeah.
Not the escort part, maybe, but having a partner with a much higher drive.
Sure.
Usually, normal couples just have a fight about it, or they go to couples therapy, or they just suffer in silence.
Right. But Euftis approaches it like a data modeler. He sees a literal bottleneck in the system.
A supply and demand issue.
Exactly. Ela has a demand for physical attention that vastly exceeds his supply of energy and time. So instead of trying to artificially increase his supply, which would hurt his writing career, he decides to outsource the demand.
He outsources the sex. He literally decides to bring in a subcontractor.
Which leads us directly to the side dick application.
I genuinely laughed out loud when I read this, but he is deadly serious about the vetting process. He treats it like he's hiring a junior developer for a tech firm.
It is a literal hiring process. He posts a classified ad, he screens the emails, he isn't looking for a lover for himself, and he's not even really looking for a romantic partner for her. He's looking for a maintenance man.
Wow.
He needs someone to perform the physical labor so he can focus on his intellectual and financial labor.
And that brings us to Rick, or Richard, the candidate who actually makes it to the final round of interviews.
Rick is the perfect candidate because he is already in the lifestyle, he's a swinger, he understands the unspoken rules. But Euftis needs to be absolutely sure, so he sets up a stress test.
The dinner interview, this scene is just, wow.
It is cinematic. It really is.
Yeah.
Rick comes over for dinner, and Euftis has Ela serve T-bone steaks while wearing nothing but gold heels and baby oil.
Just imagine the intense pressure on Rick here. You're sitting there trying to casually cut a steak, and the woman you're supposed to sleep with is completely naked, and her boyfriend is sitting right across from you, fully clothed, just watching you to see if you drop your fork or sweat too much.
It's a pure dominance display. Euftis is testing Rick's composure under fire. If Rick gets too thirsty, or if he disrespects Euftis in any way, he's out.
But Rick plays it cool.
He does. He acknowledges Euftis as the lead male in the house. He passes the test with flying colors.
So Euftis essentially hands him a work order. Like, here's the asset, please maintain it.
And it works flawlessly. Ela is initially a bit hesitant because she really just wants Euftis, but she eventually buys into the concept because she loves the attention.
Right.
It solves the resource problem perfectly. Euftis gets his time to write, Ela gets her daily marathon sessions, and Rick gets access to Ela. In Euftis's mind, this is a perfectly optimized, frictionless system.
It's incredibly efficient, I'll give him that. It's pragmatic to a fault, But things get even messier when actual family gets involved. The title of the book is Keep It in the Family After All, and we have to address the cricket storyline.
Yeah, this is where the book pushes way past the boundaries of fun swinging and enters into deep, deep taboo territory. Cricket is Euftis's first cousin.
And he doesn't shy away from the fact that they are related. He doesn't try to hide it or justify it by saying, oh, she's a second cousin twice removed. No, it is his first cousin.
Not at all. He leans heavily into the forbidden nature of it. They reconnect on Facebook, just sharing innocent childhood memories at first, but then she finds his erotica.
Right.
She reads the books, and suddenly the dynamic shifts from cousins catching up to intense sexual tension.
And Isla's reaction to this was fascinating to me. Because you'd think, as an open-minded escort who literally has a side boyfriend living in the same ecosystem, she'd be fine with pretty much anything.
You would think.
But she actually draws a hard line at the cousin.
Initially, yes. She explicitly says, that's like messing with your sister. It triggers a very standard moral gag reflex for her. But then, notice how Euftis manages her reaction. He totally reframes it. He paints it as this incredibly nasty plot. And since Isla deeply identifies as a hoe who loves nasty things, she eventually gets on board. She even starts actively competing with the cousin.
The argument about who has the bigger backside.
Yes. It's absurd, but it shows exactly how Euftis manipulates the narrative around him. He turns a rigid moral objection into a petty physical competition.
He distracts her.
He distracts her with jealousy so she entirely forgets the taboo. He basically gamifies the situation, so Isla focuses on winning the competition rather than dwelling on the fact that her boyfriend is trying to date his cousin.
He does the exact same thing with the twins, Shamika and Topeka. This whole section felt like another complex logistical puzzle he just had to solve.
The twins are an absolute masterclass in salesmanship. You have two identical sisters, and they are distinguished only by these matching yin-yang tattoos.
Right, and their personalities.
Yes. One is very thumb country, that's Topeka, and the other is highly dominant and aggressive, that's Shamika. And crucially, both are married to incredibly controlling men. One is married to a pastor, the other to a very possessive husband.
And Euftis doesn't just want one of them. He wants the full set. He wants both at the exact same time.
He identifies a glaring gap in the market. These women are bored and heavily controlled, so he offers them a release valve. He plays them off each other beautifully, using their natural twin rivalry.
Like when he calls Topeka first.
Exactly. When Shamika gets furious that he called her sister first, he just spins it. He tells them he's the ultimate solution to their boredom. Yeah. He is literally pitching himself as a premium product.
I'm the answer to your problems. It's pure corporate consulting logic.
It really is. He analyzes the user requirements, which in this case are excitement and freedom, and he delivers a custom solution.
This innate ability to manage complex schedules and difficult personalities, it really brings us right back to his day job. Because while all this wild stuff is happening, while he's managing twins and cousins and side boyfriends, he's still clocking in at the IT office every day.
The juxtaposition is just jarring. We see him intensely negotiating a menage a trois in one scene, and in the very next chapter, he's in a sterile meeting room with his manager, Tony, discussing a team lead position.
And he hates these people. You can literally feel the venom radiating off the page.
He utterly despises them. He routinely calls his coworkers morons. He describes the office politics with this dripping disdain. There's a specific incident where he's asked to formally review a resume for a highly unqualified candidate simply because the candidate is a personal friend of management.
He sees the entire corporate world as totally fake.
Yes. He specifically clashes with a coworker named Neela. It just seems like every single interaction in that office is a massive friction point for him.
Because in his mind, the office is the land of lies. In his other life, everything is raw and explicit. People say what they want, but in the office, you have to smile at people you secretly hate. You have to pretend incompetent people are actually smart.
But he uses that fake corporate world to fund his real life. And the travel scheme he pulls off is just legendary.
Oh, this is the grand plan.
Yes. So his manager asks him to find some training on SOA, service-oriented architecture.
The most boring sounding thing ever.
It's a completely standard, dry IT protocol. Most normal people would find a seminar in their same city, or maybe just do a virtual online course to get it over with.
But not Euftis.
He treats the corporate travel booking system like a logic puzzle. He specifically searches and finds a conference all the way out in San Francisco. But he doesn't just book a simple direct flight.
No, he engineers a multi-stop itinerary that the company completely pays for. Walk us through the logistics here, because this is where the data modeler brain really shines. This isn't just a business trip, it's a covert military operation.
Okay, so first he books a layover in Chicago on the way out there. Why? Just to hook up with a woman named Erin.
Naturally.
Then he spends the week in San Francisco for the conference, where he has meticulously arranged for Cricket, the cousin, to fly out and meet him.
Okay.
Then on the return flight home, he books a strategic layover in Charlotte, specifically to meet up with the twins.
He turned a mind-numbing IT training request into a fully funded cross-country sex tour.
And the company paid for all the flights. It's his ultimate stick-it-to-the-man move. He is directly using the corporate infrastructure to facilitate the exact lifestyle that corporate culture would fiercely condemn.
It completely reinforces his entire worldview, doesn't it? The idea that the corporate world is full of naive idiots who can easily be outsmarted if you just pay close enough attention to the details.
Exactly. He truly believes that because he deeply understands the system, whether that system is the travel expense policy or the emotional needs of a partner, he can exploit it. He sees the hidden strings that everyone else is just tangled up in.
And even the minor characters in the book seem to reinforce this hyper-transactional view of the world. Like, you've got the cat, Tiger.
The Abyssinian cat. Even the family pet is a rival. Euftis seriously describes the cat as a pimp who is actively competing for female attention in the house.
It's so funny.
There's a woman named Lucy who comes over, and Euftis is genuinely, visibly annoyed that the cat is getting her attention instead of him. It's hilarious, but it clearly shows that Euftis never turns that competitive filter off. Everything, even petting a cat, is a power struggle.
And then there's Dion, the drug dealer. This was such a weirdly specific, analytical scene.
This was a very telling moment. So Isla goes to buy weed, they call it purple, from Dion, and Euftis quietly listens in on their encounter. Now, most partners would be incredibly jealous or angry that their girlfriend is hooking up with another man.
Right.
But Euftis isn't jealous at all. He's just highly critical of the man's physical performance.
He's doing a literal performance review.
He literally critiques Dion's stamina like he's filling out a quarterly HR evaluation. He's saying things like, he's too quick, or he lacks technique. It's all just metrics to him. He can't help but analyze the sheer efficiency of the interaction.
It creates this very vivid picture of a man who is always calculating, always optimizing. But let's step back and look at the big picture here. We have a guy who has completely successfully compartmentalized his life.
He really has.
Corporate boredom on one side, sexual chaos managed like a spreadsheet on the other. He clearly thinks he's won the game. But reading between the lines, is he actually happy?
That's the lingering, heavy question of the whole book. Because for all the success he has in managing these people and these systems, there are undeniable cracks in the emotional foundation.
There's a specific moment near the very end that really made me wonder about that. Isla gives him a card.
Yes, it's this rare, beautiful moment of genuine vulnerability from her. She writes him a real love letter. She talks about how much she deeply needs him, how she loves that he supports her and understands her.
She's trying to connect emotionally.
She's reaching out for something much deeper than just the economic arrangement they have.
And Euftis just makes a joke out of it.
He deflects immediately. He calls her sweet when she acts like a square bitch. And then he pivots right back to the physical transaction. He asks, "Will you grind on this tonight?"
That felt so cold. It felt like he was desperately dodging something real.
It heavily suggests a massive limitation in his entire philosophy. He's so good at logistics, he's so good at managing the project of his life, that he might be entirely incapable of just sitting in quiet intimacy.
Yeah.
If you treat your partner like a resource to be managed and your love life like a series of scheduled transactions, you do protect yourself from getting hurt. It's safe. But you also completely wall yourself off from actual messy human connection.
He's the undisputed master of logistics, but maybe a total novice at actual intimacy.
It's the side dick application all over again. Sure, it efficiently solves the practical problem of, I don't have time for sex, but it inherently creates a massive emotional distance between him and Isla. He is never fully present in the relationship because he's always hovering above it, managing the system. He's always the architect of the house, but never just a resident living in it.
It really challenges the way we generally look at relationships, though. Because Euftis would absolutely argue he's being the honest one, while the rest of us are just pretending things are perfect when they definitely aren't.
And that is his core, unwavering argument. He would say that a clear, transparent contract even a bizarre one involving hired boyfriends and cross-country cousin rendezvous, is infinitely better than a polite, miserable lie.
So what's the final takeaway for you, the listener here? Because let's face it, most of us aren't going to go out and hire a boyfriend for our partners or book complex sex tours on the company dime.
I would hope not.
At least I don't think most of our listeners are actively planning that today.
I think the real takeaway is about the invisible contracts we make in our everyday lives. Euftis Emery argues that his underground world, the world of escorts and swingers, is actually far more moral than the corporate world simply because the contracts are explicitly clear.
Everyone knows exactly what they are getting.
Exactly. Whereas in the office, or even in traditional marriages, everyone is constantly pretending.
It forces you to look at where you might be faking it in your own life.
Precisely. It asks a really uncomfortable question. What would actually happen if you treated your personal desires with the exact same level of strategic planning and brutal honesty that you treat a major work project?
You might not like the answer.
You probably wouldn't, but it would certainly be efficient.
That is definitely a thought to leave you with. Next time you're staring blankly at a spreadsheet or booking a mundane business trip, ask yourself, is there a side dick solution to my current problems?
That, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Metaphorically, yes. And maybe double check your flight labors just one more time. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.